welcome back. So last time we worked on getting our enemy character doing an outline, um, and we completed uh, our post-processing material. Now you could collapse all this to like a material function to make it a little bit cleaner, but um, maybe as we move along, and or if you develop this further for yourself, that might be some options. But right now, I think we're good to leave that alone. Um, so yeah, so if I just push play, we can when we hover over our enemy characters, depending on their custom ID, they get a different color overlying. So, this might be a pickup of a box, or that's an enemy, and blue is a pickup, and green is maybe a friendly person, but we don't have that set on our friendly person yet. Um, but now we know how to do it if we had to, right? So that's good. So today, and for this video, I want to get our gameplay ability system started. And so what we're going to do there is we're going to go into our plugins first. And we're going to go into plugins, and we're going to search for gameplay. And what we're going to do is turn on our gameplay abilities plugin. And then we're going to need to restart. So I'm going to just restart that. I'll save everything and let that do there. Yeah, and so as that restarts, oh, it's already done. So that's good. So that's been set. If I just look back at our outline here, if I scroll down and maybe zoom this in a bit, we've got our character-based classes, our hero, our enemy, we did our mousing over, and now we're going to get into the implementation of the gas system. And we're going to start by getting our ability system component applied to our characters. Okay. So to do that, we're going to go to the content browser. We're going to go down to our classes, down to our public classes. And I want to create a new C++ class. And I'm going to search in all classes for ability system component. That's this one, because we're going to create it as a component so that it can be applied to a character. We're going to push next. I'm going to put this in a subfolder called ability system. And I'm going to call it HFX ability system component. It's long-winded, but it's not too bad. Okay, and we're going to create that. And it will add its code. It just takes a moment here. I'm going to say no to it, like I always do. I'm going to save all, and I'm going to exit that editor. And I'm going to exit another copy of it that I have open. And here I am in Visual Studio. We reload all. And we've got our C++ class here for that. Now, before we continue any further with that, I'm going to go into my build.cs, and we have some additions that we need to add here. And so I want to add in what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this public one. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to just drop below here, and I'm going to go gameplay ability setup. I'm going to paste that one back in here just because I don't want to, I'm lazy at typing. I'm going to delete all of these. And in the first quote, I'm going to put game play abilities. And then I'm going to copy this private one. I'm going to put it below here. And inside here, I'm going to add gameplay tags and a comma and add another one called gameplay tasks. Okay. That way we just keep it separate. We know that this is what everything was started with. I'm used to have to add enhanced input up here, but it seems to, I think in 5.3 here, that's probably now been built in further, so it's not really an excess module or something like that, but because it doesn't seem to need it. But if we do, we'll end up adding it here. Okay, so we can save all of this. And since we changed this, we are going to do a build, and I'm going to do a clean the solution. So that's going to wipe all of the directories down here. That's what I believe it does. So it cleaned all that up. Then I'm going to do a build of the solution. This is going to take a few moments, so I will pause the video here to save myself some editing time later. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. It just took just under a minute, 46 seconds. So that's pretty good. Now, what we'll do is we want to what we want to do next is not much, to be honest. All I want to be able to do is add this ability component, which we will flush out a bit more. But I want to add it to my character through the player state. So we don't have a player state yet. So we need to create our player state. So we've compiled here, and so I'm going to start the editor back up. And here we are. If I go to the car content browser, we now have our ability system, and here's our component. So that's good. Now, in player, we're going to go into player and we're going to go new C++ class. And I don't think it's, here's a player state. I'm going to say next. And it can stay in player. And I'm going to call this HFX player state. And we're going to create that class. I'll say no. I'm going to click Save All. I'm going to exit. I'm going to reload all. And we have our player state base class here. So in our player state, well, let's get our normal stuff here. Let's get a public section. I always do that capital P. Our protected section. Our private section. And then a public section, getters and setters. I would say these are getters and setters of functions that we've created here or something like that. Anyways, we are going to need a constructor. Oh, let's copy that to here. we can implement that. And right now it has nothing to do because we don't have anything in here yet. I'm going to close this build CS file because we're done with that. So what we want is a ability system component. So I'm going to just make a comment here for the ability system component setup creation. So what I want to do is, since we want to get the ability system component, oh, first of all, let's go to the protected section. I'm ahead of myself. So I'm going to create a T object pointer for a U ability system component, and we're going to call it the ability system component. Okay, it doesn't know what this is, so we're just going to forward declare that right now. So I'll put that up here. Okay. And that we want to make a U property. And we'll make it visible anywhere. And we want to be able to get the ability system component from our player state when we want to, I guess, access it. And the ability system component, there's an interface for the ability system that gets you basically gives you a functions to be able to call and override to be able to get the ability system component. Hopefully I said that right. So we're going to add that interface to our C++ class. You can't add this interface through Blueprint. So ability system interface. Of course, it doesn't know what it is. So we need to add the include for it. We'll include the ability system interface.h. And it's happy with that. And now it's happy with this. So if we peek at this, we can peek into the file and we see that it says what I just said. It's an interface for actors that expose access to an ability system component. And returns the ability system component for this actor. It may live on another actor, such as a pawn, using the player state's component. Cool. So that's that. So what we want to do, if I should look at that again, draw your attention. So there's a function here. I'm going to sneeze, sorry. So there's a function here that we're going to override because it's virtual. That's going to get the ability system component. Well, this is the interface function. And so since we have implemented this interface, we're going to, when a call goes to that and from our player state, we should be able to grab the ability system interface or system based on this class that we're creating. So we want to override that. So this comment isn't in the right spot, so I'm going to get rid of that. So I want to say that we're going to get the ability system component using the override of the function from the interface, something like that. So it was virtual U. We want it to return ability system component, so a U ability system component, and it's going to be a pointer to it. We're going to say get ability system component, and it's going to be a constant, and it's an override. Okay, and we can implement that. And all it's going to do is it's going to return our ability system component. So which we had defined here. So this function is just going to get that. So now that we've got that in our constructor, we need to probably have something to return here. So let's create ability system component setup. So our ability system component, we're going to make it equal to a create default subobject of type U HFX ability system component, and we're going to call it the ability system component. So it'll show up as that in the editor when we get there. Now, obviously, it doesn't know what this is, so we need to include our H file for that. So we need to include, and it's over here under ability system and HFX ability system component. So ability system / HFX ability system component .h. Found that, and I got all my spelling correct, so it found that, and put a semicolon at the end. One setting that we want to make sure of is that we want to have this doing its replication. So we will set the ability system component, and we're going to set is replicated to true. And we want to, I'm going to first remind myself about this one way or another. If I peek into that, it gives me nothing much. If I peek into the actual base class that we derived from for the ability system component, it's a very, very big file. And it's a really good file it's basically the help file or the documentation file as well for the ability system component. So there's all sorts of good information in here, um, and you can find out a lot of ways to do things in here. One of the things right now that we're going to look at though is um, the how it wants to be replicated. And from what I understand, mixed is the most common. Full would replicate everything. So you can imagine that would be a bandwidth hog. Um, and minimal, it says only replicate minimal gameplay effects information. Note this does not work for owned ability system components. Use mixed instead. So guess what? Only replicate minimal gameplay effect info to simulated proxies, but full information to owners and autonomous proxies. And I don't want to get into the discussion of what those mean different, but basically clients and servers and how they look, how the different effects apply to different ones. So basically you want other people that see you in game, see effects happen to you and stuff, but the server doesn't need to care, right? It doesn't need to have seeing all of that, at least playing out on it. But the origin player of it does want to see other people burning in the fire. So those things would get simulated and stuff like that. So we'll be using mixed. So let's go and set that. Close this. And so we will do ability system component. We're going to set replication mode. And it's an enum of e gameplay effect rep replication mode and mixed. Perfect. Since we have replication running, um, by using a net update frequency, you can set this to a value, and we're going to start with 100 times a second. So this is how often per second this actor will be considered for replication. And so yeah, we'll see where that lands. I think 100 is, I understand that 100 is a pretty normal value to use. And that's all we need right now for that. So we can save that. Um, yeah, so let's do a build. Let's build our template. Anyway, you've got success in that. That's good. And let's start up. Now we're going to need to um, set our player state in our game mode. And for that, we're going to want a blueprint of our player state. So we're going to create a blueprint based off of our player state. So I'm going to just right click it and I'm going to say create blueprint class. And I want to go into my blueprints and I'm going to put it into player control. It's mostly like that. And I'm going to call it BP underscore HFX player state into player control. And here we have it. Here's our ability system component that was created. It has a component class of our HFX ability system component. And at this point, there's nothing to do here. but we now have a spot to be able to edit it and make changes from here. I'm going to save that. I'm going to close that. And I'm going to go back to my content browser. And I'm going to go into the game folder and open up our game mode base. And under player state, I'm going to tick and check our BP HFX player state. We're going to compile that, save that. And yeah, so hey, well, it doesn't change anything here yet. But it's working. And if we go to our world settings, we see that it's showing up here as our player controller game, and our player state class is right here. Perfect. I'm going to end this video here, so it's a bit shorter this time. And when we get back, we will start to create a few things, and we'll see where we go. What's our so we got our component. There's other things to add to it, but that's what we wanted to get the base work for that in. I think the next thing that I'm going to do is actually look at gameplay tags, and just start to create a boilerplate for adding those. Okay, thanks a lot. Like, subscribe. Appreciate it, and have a good one.